month after sealing the Antarctic gate, strange disturbances began to spread across the planet. Magnetic storms, mysterious blackouts, and inexplicable tremors pointed to one chilling truth: the Harbinger's influence was not over. Deep beneath Black Mesa, Evelyn Kane stood before the seal of Anu. Its once bright golden glow had faded, now flickering weakly. Beside her, Victor Lang examined the latest energy readings with a grim expression. "It's weakening," he said quietly. "And if it fails?" "We're out of time," Evelyn interrupted. "We need answers." Before Victor could respond, an emergency alert flashed across the screen. "Dimensional breach detected, Lunar Outpost Sigma." The Harbinger's reach had spread to the moon. Aboard the ISS Pathfinder, Evelyn, Victor, and their new team, Dr. Helena Vasquez, an expert in extraterrestrial relics, and Commander Darius Cole, a hardened military leader, raced toward the moon's surface. When they arrived, the outpost was in ruins. Floating debris surrounded a new rift, its black energy pulsating with the same destructive force they had faced before. As they entered the shattered base, the team found the missing crew, suspended midair, their bodies wrapped in shadowy tendrils. On each victim's skin was a burned symbol, the same as those etched on the seal of Anu. "They've been marked," Helena whispered. A chilling hum filled the air. From the rift, a figure emerged, a towering, skeletal being cloaked in darkness. Its hollow gaze fell on Evelyn. "You cannot stop us," it rasped. "The destroyer will return." Darius fired, but the creature barely reacted. With a wave of its clawed hand, it sent him crashing against the wall. "The seal!" Evelyn shouted. "We need to channel its power." Victor worked frantically to synchronize the seal with the moon's energy core. Evelyn held the artifact high, its light battling the darkness. "You will fail," the entity hissed. "The Harbinger's return is inevitable." Victor shouted, "Now, Evelyn, activate it." With a final surge of will, Evelyn unleashed the seal's power. A wave of golden light engulfed the rift, forcing it closed in a violent implosion. Silence fell over the ruined base. The creature was gone, but the seal's glow was fading fast. "We stopped this breach," Victor said, helping Evelyn to her feet. "But for how long?" Evelyn's voice was grim. "The Harbinger isn't finished. This is only the beginning." Weeks after the lunar outpost incident, the world believed the danger had passed, but Evelyn Kane knew better. Each night, she dreamed of a black sun rising, casting shadow over Earth. The seal of Anu was weakening, and the Harbinger's forces were not retreating. They were spreading. In a hidden chamber beneath Black Mesa, Victor Lang had made a terrifying discovery. The rift on the moon wasn't random, he told Evelyn. It's part of a triad, 3 ancient gateways across the solar system. If the Harbinger opens all 3, nothing will hold it back. Evelyn's stomach twisted. "Where are the other 2? Victor hesitated. "One is on Mars, deep beneath the abandoned Ares 9 colony. The third, we can't locate it. But whatever it is, the energy signature is growing." Before they could process the danger, a new alert blared across the chamber. "Emergency. Mars orbital disturbance. Ares 9 activating." Evelyn and her team, Victor, Helena Vasquez, and Darius Cole, boarded the Pathfinder 2, the fastest ship capable of reaching Mars. But as they approached the planet, something was wrong. The red surface beneath them shifted, forming massive geometric patterns, symbols identical to those on the seal. "That's not a natural formation," Helena said, her voice tight. "It's a signal." As the Pathfinder descended, a distress call broke through their comms, faint and distorted. "This is Ares 9. We are not alone. Something beneath." The signal cut off. They landed near the Ares 9 excavation site, now eerily silent. As the team moved inside, they found the colony in ruins. Walls were scorched, machines torn apart, but there were no bodies. "What happened to the crew?" Darius muttered. Victor's scanner beeped. "I'm picking up life signs, but they're wrong." Moments later, they found the first survivor. A scientist, eyes wide in terror, whispering in an unknown language. Helena knelt beside him, trying to translate. He's repeating the same phrase: "The sleeper wakes." The ground trembled. Deeper in the colony, an enormous obsidian door began to glow. Symbols flared to life across its surface. "This is the second gateway," Evelyn said, her heart pounding. As they approached, a chilling presence filled the air. The shadows grew darker, and from the other side of the door, something ancient began to stir. "We're too late," Victor whispered. "It's waking up." The obsidian door trembled as a deep, otherworldly pulse echoed through the ruins of Ares 9. Evelyn Kane stood frozen, the seal of Anu glowing weakly in her hands. Whatever lay beyond that door was waking, and if it escaped, the final gate would open. Victor Lang's fingers flew across the control panel. "This isn't just a gate," he said, voice tight. "It's a containment lock, and it's failing." A sudden tremor shook the ground. Cracks spread across the blackened door as a thin, shadowy mist slipped through. Evelyn's heart pounded. They were out of time. From the mist, a figure emerged, tall, skeletal, and cloaked in shifting darkness. Its hollow eyes glowed with violet light. The air grew cold as it raised a clawed hand. "You cannot stop the awakening," it hissed. "The sleeper rises, and the destroyer will follow." Darius Cole raised his weapon and fired. The energy blast struck the figure, but it didn't even flinch. With a wave of its hand, reality itself bent, slamming Darius against the wall. Helena Vasquez gasped as her scanner flared with energy spikes. "This thing, it's not the Harbinger. It's something else. A herald." Evelyn stepped forward, the seal of Anu flaring brighter. "If it's a herald," she said coldly, "we send it back." The herald laughed softly. "Fools, the seal is fading. You cannot hold us back forever." Victor's voice cut through the rising panic. "I can use the Mars Core's energy to amplify the seal, but I need more time." "You've got it," Evelyn said. She raised the seal, channeling its remaining energy. A golden beam erupted from the artifact, striking the herald. It shrieked but pushed forward, tendrils of shadow curling toward her. Darius groaned as he pulled himself upright. "I'm not letting it win." He unleashed another volley of energy blasts, forcing the creature back. "Victor!" Evelyn shouted. "Do it! Now!" "I'm locking the core frequency. Just a few more seconds." His hands flew over the controls, sweat dripping down his face. The herald's voice grew deeper, more powerful. "The third gate is opening," it said, its form starting to dissolve into the air. "When it does, Earth will burn." Victor slammed his hand on the console. "Got it!" A massive shockwave of red light erupted from the walls, surging into the seal. Evelyn channeled the energy forward. Blinding golden light flooded the chamber, consuming the herald in a storm of brilliance. The obsidian door groaned and snapped shut, sealing the creature away once more. For a long moment, there was silence. Evelyn lowered the seal, breathing hard. "Is it over?" Victor shook his head. "No? Look." On the screen, a new energy signature flared, far beyond Mars's orbit. Helena's voice trembled. "The third gate. It's on Pluto. And it's waking up." Evelyn's jaw tightened. If the final gate opens, nothing will stop the Harbinger. Far beyond the warmth of the inner solar system, Pluto's frozen surface trembled. Deep beneath its icy crust, ancient machinery rumbled to life, a forgotten gateway, pulsing with shadowy energy. The third and final gate was waking. Aboard the Pathfinder 2, Evelyn Kane and her team raced toward the distant world. Tension hung heavy in the air as the ship pierced the outer edges of the Kuiper Belt. "This energy signature is off the charts," Victor said, scanning the data. "If the Harbinger's heralds open this gate, Earth won't survive." Darius Cole stood by the viewport, his jaw clenched. "We barely stopped the last one. What if this time we're too late?" Evelyn refused to let fear control her. "We stop it, no matter the cost. If the Harbinger rises, everything we know is over." As the Pathfinder 2 entered Pluto's orbit, a massive black chasm became visible on the surface. The abyssal rift. Strange, jagged spires surrounded it, glowing with eerie violet light. "This wasn't natural," Helena whispered. "Someone, or something, built this." A distress signal suddenly crackled through the comms. "This is Outpost Erebus. We are under attack." "Repeat, we." The message dissolved into static. "They're already here," Evelyn said grimly. "Prepare for landing." The Pathfinder touched down near the rift, frost clinging to the ship's hull. The air outside shimmered unnaturally, and a strange whispering sound filled their ears as they stepped onto the surface. Victor's scanner buzzed wildly. "The gate's energy is destabilizing reality itself." He looked up, his face pale. "If it fully opens, it won't just release the Harbinger. It could tear a hole between dimensions." Suddenly, movement. Twisted, shadow-cloaked figures emerged from the rift. Their hollow eyes glowed with the same violet flame as the herald they had faced on Mars. "They're already here," Darius growled, raising his rifle. One of the shadow creatures lunged. Evelyn unleashed a blast from the Seal of Anu, its golden light disintegrating the creature in a burst of energy. But for every one they destroyed, two more emerged. "We're outnumbered," Helena shouted. Victor's voice cut through the chaos. "If I can reach the core beneath the rift, I can override the gate's activation. But I need cover." "Go," Evelyn ordered. "We'll hold the line." Darius and Helena opened fire as Evelyn pushed forward, the seal blazing in her hands. But from the depths of the rift, something far worse was rising. A figure twice as tall, its form wreathed in endless black flames. Victor's heart pounded. "It's not just a herald," he gasped. "The Harbinger is already awakening." The ground beneath Outpost Erebus trembled violently as the massive, flame-wreathed figure emerged from the heart of the abyssal rift. Its form was both ancient and otherworldly, a towering shadow with eyes that burned like collapsing stars. Every step it took warped the air, sending waves of unnatural cold across Pluto's barren surface. Evelyn Kane's heart pounded. This wasn't just a herald. This was something far worse, something that had slept for eons, waiting for the gates to open. "It's the Harbinger's avatar," Victor said, his voice shaking as he worked furiously at the control panel. "A fragment of its true form. If it crosses fully into our reality, we lose everything." Darius Cole fired at the creature, his energy blasts tearing through the smaller shadow beasts. But when he aimed at the avatar, the bolt simply vanished, swallowed by the creature's aura of darkness. "It's absorbing everything we throw at it," Darius growled. Evelyn raised the Seal of Anu, channeling its golden light into a concentrated beam, striking the avatar's core. For a brief moment, the creature staggered, but then, with a bone-chilling roar, it thrust a clawed hand forward, and a wave of black fire erupted, blasting Evelyn off her feet. "Evelyn!" Helena shouted, rushing to her side. "I'm fine," Evelyn gasped, pushing herself up. But her hands trembled, the seal's light was fading, and the avatar was still rising. Victor's fingers flew across the console. "I'm in the core system. If I can reverse the energy flow, I can collapse the gate, but I need 2 more minutes." "We don't have 2 minutes," Darius barked. The avatar raised both arms, and the rift widened, unleashing even more shadowed creatures. Evelyn knew they couldn't hold the line much longer. Desperation burned through her veins. "If we can't stop it, maybe we can bind it." She turned to Victor. "Can the seal channel the core's energy?" Victor's eyes widened. "It's risky, but yes, it might force the avatar back into the gate." "Do it," Evelyn ordered. Victor rerouted the energy with a final keystroke. "Channel is open." Evelyn gripped the seal and poured everything she had into it. A blinding pillar of golden and crimson light erupted from the artifact, colliding with the avatar's form. The creature screamed in rage as the energy tore into its essence. The rift trembled, beginning to collapse. "It's working," Helena cried. But the avatar wasn't finished. With one last furious strike, it lashed out, a spear of shadow hurtling toward Victor. "No!" Evelyn threw herself into the path of the attack. The shadow pierced through her armor, pain burned like liquid ice, but she refused to fall. The Seal of Anu flared one final time, unleashing a shockwave of pure light. The avatar howled as it was dragged back into the abyss, and with a deafening crack, the rift imploded, sealing the gate. Silence fell. The shadow creatures were gone. Darius rushed to Evelyn's side as she collapsed. "Evelyn, stay with us." Victor knelt beside her, his voice soft. "You did it. You stopped it." Evelyn's vision blurred, but she managed a weak smile. "For now," she whispered. "But the Harbinger, it's still out there, and it's not done with us yet." The air around Outpost Erebus hung heavy and still, the last echoes of the gate's collapse fading into the cold void. Evelyn Kane lay motionless, the Seal of Anu dim and cracked in her hand. Darius knelt beside her, his face tight with worry. "Stay with us, Evelyn," he urged, his voice rough. "We're not losing you now." Victor scrambled to stabilize her vitals, injecting a regenerative serum into her bloodstream. "Her life signs are weak," he said, panic creeping into his voice. "That shadow energy, it's still inside her." Helena scanned the sealed rift. "We stopped the avatar," she said, but her voice trembled. "But something's wrong. I'm still picking up a pulse from inside." Evelyn's eyes fluttered open, pain etched across her face. "It's not over," she gasped. "The gate, it's still connected to something deeper." Suddenly, the Pathfinder 2's comm system crackled to life. A chilling voice, not human, filled the air. The third gate is sealed, but the fourth has begun to stir. You cannot stop the awakening. Victor's blood ran cold. Fourth gate? He turned to Helena. I thought Pluto was the last one. It was, she said, dread filling her voice. But this signal, it's coming from beyond the solar system. Darius clenched his fists. If there's a fourth gate, it means the Harbinger's real body is closer than we thought. Evelyn forced herself upright, her strength barely returning. We have to find it before it opens. If the Avatar was this powerful, the real thing could destroy entire star systems. Victor's fingers flew across the console, analyzing the distant signal. I've got a location, he said, his face pale. The next gate, it's not on any known planet. It's orbiting a rogue world outside our system. Helena's breath caught. A world without a sun? It's been hidden in the dark. Darius stood, gripping his weapon. Then that's where we go next. We finish this, once and for all. Evelyn met his gaze, fire returning to her eyes. Prepare the ship, she said. If the Harbinger wants to rise, we'll be there to bury it. As the Pathfinder 2 lifted off from Pluto's surface, the abyss beneath the sealed gate trembled faintly. Something deeper was still stirring. And far beyond the edge of the solar system, in the blackness of interstellar space, a new gate began to glow. The true battle was just beginning. The Pathfinder 2 drifted silently through the endless black beyond the solar system. Evelyn Kane stood at the helm, her eyes locked on the swirling mass ahead, a rogue world, cold and dead, where the fourth gate pulsed ominously. Victor's voice cut through the tension. We're within range, scanning now. His face darkened as the data poured in. The energy signatures. They're off the scale. This gate is stronger than anything we've seen before. The screen flickered, revealing the planet's surface. At its core stood a towering obsidian monolith, surrounded by jagged ruins. Pulses of violet energy throbbed through the ancient structure. Helena's hands trembled as she analyzed the readings. This isn't just a gate, it's a beacon, and something is answering its call. Darius narrowed his eyes. If the Harbinger crosses through, there won't be a galaxy left to save. Alarms blared suddenly. Victor's fingers danced over the controls. We've got company. Multiple contacts rising from the surface. From the planet's shadow, massive sentinels emerged. Twisted shapes of black metal, glowing with the same eerie energy as the gate. Their limbs crackled with power as they locked onto the Pathfinder 2. They're arming weapons, Darius shouted, unleashing a volley of cannon fire. Explosions ripped through the darkness, but more sentinels kept coming. Evelyn's voice was cold and sharp. We can't hold them off forever. We're landing. Now. The ship dived through the chaos, weaving between energy blasts before setting down near the monolith. The moment the landing ramp lowered, icy winds and the low hum of ancient machinery filled the air. Victor's scanner flared with warnings. The gate, it's already activating. We're running out of time. Evelyn stepped forward, the seal of Anu glowing faintly in her hand. If we don't stop this now, nothing will. As the team advanced toward the monolith, a deep, unnatural rumble shook the ground. The air grew heavy, charged with a presence far beyond their understanding. Then a chilling voice echoed from the gate itself. The fourth gate is only the beginning, and beyond it waits a force even the Harbinger fears. The air around the monolith grew heavier with each step Evelyn took. The seal of Anu pulsed weakly in her hand, as if the sheer presence of the gate was draining its power. Behind her, Darius scanned the perimeter, his weapon raised, while Victor and Helena worked to decipher the ancient symbols etched across the black stone. The energy's rising fast, Victor warned, his voice tense. If we don't shut this gate down soon, whatever's on the other side is coming through. Darius knelt beside a fractured console near the base. I might be able to override the activation sequence, but these systems, they're not just old, they're alien. Helena's face paled as she deciphered the glyphs. This gate wasn't built to bring the Harbinger through. She looked up, fear in her eyes. It was built to keep something else locked inside. Evelyn froze. If the Harbinger isn't the true threat, then what is? Before anyone could answer, the ground trembled violently. From the heart of the monolith, a tear in space began to widen. Dark tendrils of energy slithered out, and with them came a shape, tall, emaciated, with jagged limbs and eyes that burned with a sickly blue light. Victor's voice broke in panic. That's not the Harbinger. It's something worse. The creature let out a piercing shriek, and the sentinels around the gate turned toward it, as if responding to a higher command. It's controlling them, Darius muttered. If that thing escapes, it'll be unstoppable. Evelyn's mind raced. The seal's power was fading, and the monolith's energy was accelerating. We have to force the gate shut, now! Victor worked furiously at the console. I can overload the system, but we'll have less than a minute to get clear. Do it, Evelyn ordered, stepping forward. She raised the seal, its light flickering weakly as she poured the last of her strength into it. The creature shrieked again, its form twisting as it began to push through the widening tier. Darius pulled his weapon. If it crosses over, we're finished. Evelyn's voice was steel. Not if I stop it first. The tier in space widened as the monstrous entity clawed its way through, its jagged limbs dripping with shadow. Each step it took warped reality around it, distorting the air with an unnatural chill. Evelyn gritted her teeth, the seal of Anu flickering dangerously in her trembling hands. Victor's fingers flew over the ancient console. I'm overriding the core. 30 seconds until detonation! His voice was tight with urgency. Darius unleashed a hail of plasma fire at the creature, but the energy dissolved against its shimmering aura. Weapons are useless, he growled. We need more power. Helena scanned the beast, her voice filled with dread. It's not fully through yet. If we sever its link to the gate, it'll be trapped between dimensions. Evelyn's heart pounded. Then we cut it off. She turned to Victor. Can you channel the seal's energy into the core? Victor hesitated. I can. But it'll destroy the seal, and maybe you with it. A tremor rocked the ground as the creature reached toward them, its claws dripping with void energy. Time was running out. Evelyn stepped closer to the gate, raising the seal. Do it, she ordered. I won't let this thing escape. Victor's hands shook as he linked the seal's energy to the core. Golden light burst forth, wrapping around the monolith and searing into the dark tendrils. The creature let out a howl of agony, its form flickering as the gate began to collapse inward. It's working, Helena cried. We're pushing it back. But the entity wasn't finished. With a furious lunge, it sent a wave of shadow crashing toward Evelyn. Darius dove, tackling her out of the way as the ground where she stood shattered. You okay? He panted. Evelyn pushed herself up, her vision blurred. We're not done yet. Victor's voice rang out. 10 seconds! The creature shrieked as the golden energy tore through its core. Evelyn summoned every ounce of will, forcing the seal's fading power into the collapsing gate. With a final, ear-splitting roar, the gate imploded, dragging the creature back into the void. The shockwave blasted across the surface, sending the team tumbling as the monolith crumbled into dust. When the dust settled, Evelyn opened her eyes. The gate was gone. The world was silent. We did it, Darius exhaled. But Evelyn, still gripping the broken seal, knew the truth. This wasn't the end. Something darker still waited beyond. The air hung heavy with the aftermath of the gate's collapse, the echoes of the creature's final shriek fading into the void. Evelyn struggled to her feet, the broken seal of Anu still warm in her grasp. Around her, the jagged remains of the monolith smoldered, releasing faint tendrils of black mist that dissolved into nothingness. Darius stood, scanning the ruins with his weapon still raised. Is it gone for good? He asked, his voice low and tense. Victor shook his head, his face pale. The gate is destroyed, but that thing wasn't fully here. It's still out there, waiting. Helena knelt beside Evelyn, concern in her eyes. You pushed the seal beyond its limits. Are you okay? I'm alive, Evelyn answered, though her body ached with a deep, unnatural fatigue. But the seal, it's broken. We don't have another weapon like this. A sudden pulse rippled through the air, faint but undeniable. Victor's console lit up with an ominous red warning. I'm picking up residual energy spikes, he said grimly. And it's not just from this world. These readings are coming from multiple locations across the galaxy. Evelyn's blood ran cold. More gates. Helena's hands trembled as she analyzed the data. The fourth gate wasn't the last. It was a beacon, and others are beginning to stir. Darius clenched his fists. If those gates open, the Harbinger won't need to break through. They'll come to us. Victor turned toward Evelyn, his expression serious. We bought ourselves time, but not much. If we don't find and shut down the remaining gates, the next entity could be even stronger. And next time, we might not be able to stop it. Evelyn took a slow breath, pushing aside the ache in her chest. We're not giving up. We track every signal, every gate. We stop them before they open. Darius cracked a wry smile. Just another day saving the galaxy, huh? But Evelyn's expression remained hard. She knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the darkness, the Harbinger and far older powers were still stirring, watching, waiting to strike. Victor's console beeped sharply. I've got a new signal, he said, his voice tense, and it's stronger than anything we've seen. Evelyn tightened her grip on her broken weapon. Then let's move, she said coldly, because whatever's waiting for us, we're not backing down. As the Pathfinder 2 lifted off from the shattered world, no one spoke of the distant shape that flickered across their scanners. An impossible structure, ancient and vast, hidden in the black. And from the void beyond the stars, a whisper came, soft but filled with malice. The fifth gate, open soon. The Pathfinder 2 soared through the void, leaving the shattered remnants of the fourth gate behind. But even as the stars stretched endlessly ahead, an unshakable sense of dread lingered in the air. Evelyn stood on the observation deck, staring out into the darkness, the fractured seal of Anu resting in her palm. Darius joined her, his usual smirk replaced by quiet concern. You know this isn't over, he said softly. Evelyn nodded. We stopped one gate, but there are more out there. And whatever's behind them, it's getting stronger. Victor's voice came over the comm. We're approaching the next signal. It's faint, but it's not natural. Helena's tone was grim. If this fifth gate opens, we might be facing something even worse. Evelyn turned away from the stars, her resolve hardening. Then we stop it, no matter what it takes. The ship hummed as it pushed deeper into uncharted space, where ancient forces stirred and the next battle loomed. But far beyond their reach, hidden in the cold black, something else awoke. And this time, it wasn't just watching, it was coming. If you want to uncover the secrets of the fifth gate and witness the battle for the galaxy's survival, don't miss the next chapter. Like, share, and subscribe to stay updated, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of this epic journey. The fight is far from over, and the real enemy has yet to reveal itself. See you in the next video.